is why, as soon as I take the oath of office, we will begin the largest deportation operation in the history of our country.
You better start packing now.
There are 11 million undocumented immigrants in the USA who will be looking to extend their North American stay. CTV is reporting that Canada has only 3 detention centers. We are not prepared for what's coming.
America has allowed gangs to enter our country.
Venezuelan jails emptied. Criminals and violent gangs spread terror across New York City. Buses are stopping at New York City shelters multiple times per day, picking up migrants and driving them to Canada. Ladies and gents, welcome back. There's a looming issue on the forefront. We are happy that Donald Trump, or at least I am, that Donald Trump was elected in the United States. But for us here in Canada, we're already suffering a huge problem with immigration. And to talk about this today, I brought in a special guest, Rudy from Rudy Cast. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, bro. It's my pleasure.
Absolutely. Now you're a podcaster. You from Venezuela. You live in Calgary, and you've been talking about the issues between the two countries. And we're going to be having some issues, or at least we're looking to see some issues right now. What's happening in the United States are, Donald Trump's border czar has said to all those illegals in the United States, get packing because you're not going to be able to stay. Now, a lot of them are looking to lengthen their stay in North America, and they're looking to Canada being that thing. And for someone who talks about Venezuelan issues quite a bit, just how many people, the massive influx of Venezuelans that have come from Venezuela into America and are now probably going to be trying to make their stay longer in Canada. Is this what's the word on the ground? What's the word on the streets on this?
Yeah, so different things. Like the first one, of course, to give a little bit of context of the situation, more than 10 million people flee Venezuela in the last few years. Not all of them went to America, like to the United States. They are all spread around the world. And a lot of people inside, these numbers are criminals, that they were released from jail. Everything that Donald Trump said in the past about other countries releasing them, the criminals from the jails and going into the state, everything was true and it's happening right now. And there is a gang that is called El Tren de Aragua, which is a very organized gang that started in 2005. So people is very worried about this because we already seeing a lot of stuff happening in the United States. We were talking about Colorado, that these gangs are taking over. I have to say, Venezuelan gangs are taking over many states. And what they're doing, for example, one of the things they're doing is that they're taking over buildings, and they're making people pay them for the rent. And that, plus other issues, many people stealing on the streets, or so much worse as what happened a few days ago. This guy from the El Tren de Agua, his name is Jose Ibarra. He now was sentenced to go to jail for life because he took the life of this lady. Very unfortunate what happened to her by this member, which is now confirmed belongs to El Tren de Aragua. So another thing that we're seeing right now is that, Tom Homan, the new border czar, he promised that he's going to deport a lot of people. And with these people, there's going to be a lot of people from Venezuela. And inside this, the gangs, right? That's the main I want to believe that that's going to be the main, let's say, kind of people that they're going to deport from the United States. And with that, I think a lot of people are going to start coming to Canada. So that's what I'm very worried right now, to be honest, that these gangs are going to start coming here.
Well, that's a huge worry for a lot of Canadians. We've been reading the news about Colorado, different places throughout the United States have been taken over by these Venezuelan gangs. Now, is this a typical thing that these gangs do in Venezuela? Is this something that they're taking stuff from their own turf, and then because they're in these new areas, that this is just par for the course? This is just their form of business?
Kind of, and I think it's a little bit more complex than that, difficult to explain for a lot of people that never been in Venezuela. But there's a lot of things that are new to me, like, for example, these gangs taking over buildings and making people pay the rent to them. That's something that I never seen in Venezuela with this kind of gangs. But now we're seeing it in other countries. Well, right now, the United States. Mm-hmm. But yeah, of course, we're seeing a lot of stuff from these people, like let's say the normal. I don't like to call it like that. It's like normalizing something, but it's the normal thing to see, these people kidnapping people, kidnapping politics, because they are very related with the government in Venezuela. They work with the government, and the government use them as a, let's say, as a weapon, to intimidate the opposition in Venezuela. So that kind of stuff we are used to in Venezuela. I think we're seeing a lot of people fleeing Venezuela, escaping Venezuela, and the numbers, speak for themselves. Like more than 10 million people escaping Venezuela in the last few years, and a lot of problems, of course, are the reasons why these people are escaping Venezuela, and of course, these gangs are one of them, definitely.
So not everyone that's leaving Venezuela, obviously, the millions of people are going to be gang members, and obviously there's a part of this that is a humanitarian effort. Some people are fleeing and they want to live in a free country, and they want to come to Canada. I would encourage every single one of them to do it in the legal way, because our government is the people of our country are looking at it the same way. If you're going to enter our country illegally, sorry, but the first thing you do is commit a crime. You got to go. You can't stick around. Go and come back and try to do it the legal way. And I really want to encourage a number of these people to please don't. If anybody's listening, or perhaps are paying attention to this kind of thing, please don't enter the country illegally. Obviously, you came at a time where you found a way to come over to Canada. And how disappointing is it, by the way? How disappointing is it to see Venezuela fall apart so terribly, and to see our country going sort of the same direction?
Many things that we can take from that. One thing is the monetary aspect. Like, all the money that I spend to come to Canada, thousands and thousands of dollars to come legally to Canada and do the things in the right way. Like we study, we did we passed through all the process. And again, I'm not saying that everybody that is fleeing or escaping Venezuela and other countries are bad people. Like, not everyone is like a criminal, of course. But there, in those numbers, there's a lot of criminals coming. A lot of things happening, like narcotics coming into the country with these people, and that's why we need the borders, and that's why the legal way, to do the things have a reason, and that reason is that you can have a filter, to see who is coming into the country, who is bad for the country, and who's gonna be productive, for this country. I mean, talking about Canada right now. But yeah, definitely, borders made a country. It makes sense to have a border it makes sense to have control of the border, and it makes sense to check everyone that is coming into the country. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Now I want to talk to you. I could talk to you all night about this stuff because you and I are big fans of liberty, and I wanted to encourage people to go over to your podcast. Go check out Rudy Cast on
Yeah.
YouTube. Now, over on YouTube, a lot of his shows are in Spanish, so you can do the automatic translation feature. It's really fantastic. It's important for us Canadians to go pay attention to more things that are happening around the world because these things affect us. So get on over there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell. It'll let you know when Rudy does new podcasts and goes live. And speaking of lives, hope to have you on an upcoming live stream. It'll be really good. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, for sure, man. No, thanks to you. And I would love also to have you on my channel soon. So yeah, let's talk about that. And hopefully we're going to see you again on Friday.